Here comes the money. You're now listening to the Gambling with Gold podcast with Jason Gold. Presented by Champions Round.
Welcome to Gambling with Gold. My name is Jason Gold, and as always, I am joined by my buddy from the Action Network, Dan Titus. Dan, called you about 14 times during the Bills-Chiefs game. Might have had something to do with the Jack Daniels, and maybe it was because it was the greatest game of all time, non-Super Bowl edition. Couldn't believe what my eyes were seeing. Last 2 minutes were amazing. Can't wait to talk about it on the show. How you living?
Dude, I was trying to put it into words like what that game was to me. The only thing I can remember was like the shock value of it was like when Derek Fisher hit that shot in 0.4 seconds. Yeah, like an instant reaction, like what just happened? How did he pull that off in only 0.4 seconds? Same thing with the Chiefs game, man. Like I'm just absolutely unbelievable. A lot of stories. Best game easily I've ever watched, like entertainment value wise for the playoffs, like bar none. So yeah, I'm pissed that Josh Allen isn't gonna have a chance to like actually play in this game. But I can't be mad, man. That was the most spectacular performance I've ever seen. That shit was crazy.
So you and I both agreed that we pretty much had watched the Super Bowl. Like, there's no way that we're getting a better game than that. That was everything that we needed. These last 3 games of the NFL season, just icing on the cake. Doesn't even really matter who brings home the title. That's the game we all deserved and needed. Unbelievable performance. And we'll talk about Buffalo and Kansas City as we go forward. But I do want to start off with this off the top. Overtime rules. Is there anything that you want to change about it? Do you have any strong opinion on what they should do? Because clearly, I mean, a lot of people say, okay, well, the rules are fine. They're working. But the amount of volume people talking about it, it's clearly not a perfect system right now. And you can judge based on the numbers, the fact that in the playoffs, the team that wins the toss, 10-1, 7 of them have gone down first drive and scored touchdown. Clearly, we are not giving teams proper value. Yeah, okay, go play defense. Great, but the numbers bear out that it's still not fair. You're coming off of this usually really tough games, and it's just tough to play defense in that situation. So do you think you have a better system, or what would you like to see be implemented, if anything?
So I think there's a lot of chatter between, you don't need to change the rules because if the Bills or the Chiefs, if the Bills just played defense, maybe that wouldn't have ended up that way. Maybe you don't play prevent defense the whole time and let him just march up the field. But you got to change the rules. Like, I don't see how it's fair in any amount of the imagination, because if the Bills lose the coin toss, which they did, they just got off the field after just getting trounced for right up and down the field. So you can't, they were tired. Everyone was gassed. And to not have a chance at a rebuttal and in 2022 is stupid. So I see the argument. Yeah, more defense could have been played, but you still have to adjust the rules here. You should at least get an equal share. If someone scores a touchdown, you should at least have a chance to also score a touchdown. Similar to college rules, I would say start at the 30 or whatever. And then, I'm okay with that. That nuance doesn't matter to me. It's just, you have to give it equal share. If one person marches down the field and scores, the other team should at least get the opportunity to do so, especially in a game like that, where they were both on fire and no defense was being played. Like, that just sucks that Josh Allen didn't get a chance to respond to that.
Absolutely. I think that the fact that we saw probably the 2 best minutes of football that you will ever see, there's no way that you can top that. Like, there's just no way you're topping it. And the idea that we were robbed from more of it because you only get one possession and one drive is bullshit. I wanted to see 15 more minutes of that game. Like I told you, I went back and watched the last 2 minutes of that game, which is 30 minutes. There's a great YouTube clip on it. Maybe I'll link it below on YouTube. That I watched 4 times. I couldn't get enough of it. I wish there was more action for me to see. It's bullshit. I completely agree with you. My idea is I want college rules, but start at the 50-yard line, because it requires you to get a first down. It'll force people to go for it on 4th down. If you don't get it first, obviously there's no reason to punt in that situation. You have to at least attain a first down and do something productive on offense in order to extend the drive and try and get a field goal. And I don't know in the regular season if you cap it after, each team gets 2 possessions and they both score equally, then you go for 2 points. Or if it's just a tie then in the regular season, like I'm probably okay with that. But in the playoffs, college rules start from the 50. You play until someone either dies on the fucking field or there's a goddamn winner. Or both.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right. Right.
It should,
I mean, at this
it
point,
should be,
it's got to
yeah.
be, it's got to be something different than what it is right now. And I don't. It's 2022. How have we not? And it's funny because the Chiefs actually like championed this idea years ago, and none of the owners wanted it. The league office didn't want it. And it's funny that they benefited from it. And they were the first ones to actually say something. So, yeah, I think you got to expect after one of the best performances of all time. The ratings were through the roof. They got to address it. Like the media and the outward public is just too mad about it for them not to at least go back to the table and look at it a little bit.
All right, let me ask this question, then we'll wrap it up. If the Bills win the toss there, they win the game?
Ooh, man, it's hard to say that. I don't know that the momentum was on their side, man. Like as much as I wanted to say Josh Allen was just going to go out there and, bomb another one to Gabriel Davis for 75 yards or whatever it would have been. I feel like the momentum was definitely with the Chiefs, man, for what they were just doing. I feel like the defense would have at least woken up a little bit, maybe get a stop. I think that was the Chiefs to win. Once they did that at the end of the regular time, the game was over. And it was funny because there's a couple, one particular bettor on the Action Network had a lot of money on the Bills going into that fourth quarter. And right when at 13 seconds, when they got the ball back, he said he hedged heavy on the Chiefs at that point.
It was like 160 to 1 or something like that. It was ridiculous.
It worked out really well for him. But that's just balls, though. I'm still like, I mean, I get it. Like, if I'm going to trust one person with 13 seconds with the ball in their hands, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. But at that time, man, you got some balls to be throwing that down.
That was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
That is quite a bet. I think that the Buffalo would have won because the last 2 minutes, I just think that both defenses were completely done. I don't think there was anything that anyone was doing to stop anyone at that point.
That's fair.
Which is why, honestly, we can talk about the squib kick a little bit or the idea that Buffalo didn't do it. I think that I think that both the head coaches were just like, what the fuck's happening right now? Like, I don't. It's like there's 13 seconds left.
Right. I mean, there was reports that, the routes that they were practicing, there was reports that Eric Bieniemy and the offense has practiced these scenarios where they're, down to 30 seconds left. What do you do? But a lot of that was just that was like backyard football. Like where Kelsey's finding those seams in the gaps in the zone. Like you can't predict that stuff. And I saw Emmanuel Acho did some kind of analysis where he was looking at one of the cornerbacks. He was slightly leaned in just a little bit more. And then Pat Mahomes sold the safety. So he looked away, and that split second was enough time to find Kelsey. It's like literally all these little nuances just worked out in their favor. Like I feel like you couldn't predict the way that was going to end. And, at that point, whether you squib kick, whether you kick it so they don't, I don't know. Like at that point, you're just trying to win the game. And if your defense makes one stop, one play, what I mean? Like we're not even talking about this, right? So it's that was awesome. So I don't even care. It was the best ending I could have ever asked for. I don't care whether it's the Bills or the Chiefs going to the AFC Championship. I think we lucked out by seeing just an amazing game.
That's not even talk about the first 3 games, which are probably worth noting a little bit, which were pretty awesome.
There were other games that were played, right?
the Cincy Tennessee game, I mean, we'll talk about it a little bit when we get to the Tennessee Chiefs game, but that was more Tennessee blowing it more than Cincinnati win. I'm not saying that Cincinnati didn't play well. Their defense certainly stepped up, but Tannehill and some of the offensive play calling was absolutely terrible. San Francisco Green Bay was maybe the worst football game I've watched this year, which is great because the 2 games Sunday were awesome. Kind of made up for it. Real downer of a game, although I know that you had San Francisco plus 5.5, so nice win by you.
Yeah. But I didn't feel good about it. Like, come on.
No.
We got to the fourth quarter there. We're like, this game is ugly. This is a wrap. Why did I even bother? And then all of a sudden, special teams is just the X factor of all X factors. Like I knew that they had a deficiency in special teams. I mean, they were 30th in DVOA over the course of the season, but like, I feel like you got to correct a couple of things before going into the divisional round, man. Like that was abysmal. I mean, I haven't heard that guy's been fired yet, but whoever's their special teams coach, he's got to be out of there. That was awful.
It was terrible. And Green Bay blew a lot of opportunities in that game. San Francisco played probably their worst game over the past 8 or 9 weeks of the season and somehow got it done, at least offensively. Defensively, they obviously
their defense
great.
Was spectacular. Yeah.
And then the morning game. I mean, we almost got the Super Bowl 52 or 53 redo with the Falcons and Patriots, 27-3. Oh, I had a sneaking suspicion. I kept betting the shit out of Tampa Bay live, and like all the way into the abyss, like up to plus 19.5. I think was the highest I got. I was like,
oh hell yeah,
Brady's gonna do something at some point, right? Well, I had already written off the plus 6.5 and the plus 11.5. I had to go down with the ship at that point. So, yeah, the Rams, and we'll talk about it when we get to the 49ers game. They stopped playing aggressively. They started running the ball a lot. Got unlucky. Brady did his thing, and Stafford came up with one big pass at the end of the game, which was great. I mean, they should have just been passing the entire time. They would have won the game by 50 points. Really, really weird game.
But why do you blitz? Why do you blitz there? Just why do you blitz there? What is Todd Bowles doing? Why do you blitz? The only like if you're gonna send a blitz, send it from the corner. Don't do it on the guy that's supposed to be checking Cooper Kupp. Like dude, that was Bowles' error, man. That might cost him a head coaching job there. He blew that. No reason. There's no reason to blitz there. No reason.
It was a really, really weird game. And McVay, we'll talk about it. I got to get into McVay a little bit, but all right, let's get to the games. Let's get to some champions round business before that. We have 2 7-6 contests this week. We have one for Kansas City, Cincinnati, and one for the Rams and 49ers. One of them, we're giving away a Jamar Chase jersey, amongst other things. So that's awesome.
Hey.
The Rams 49ers one, we have a Jalen Ramsey jersey to give away and a Tutu Atwell one. So enter to go play those now.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, babe. Well, we got some stuff to clear in the vault, but the Jalen Ramsey one is awesome. We have a Trevor Lawrence signed football they're going to give away if you join our free boost ball contest and DM us with a screenshot. And then Twitter Spaces on Friday at 11:30. Me, Steph Smalls, and Dan Turner will be talking about our best bets for the week after we do this show, and I give away all my best bets. I want to hear what they have to say. For that one, if you join us and share it on Twitter, how about a little Aaron Jones signed jersey? He had a big game last week, about 197 receiving yards. Should have put that one into the end zone, though. You got to learn how to finish off those ones. They would have won the game if they did that.
Yeah.
So yeah, join us 11:30 Pacific on Twitter Spaces. That'll be awesome. All right, let's get to the first game. 12 p.m. Pacific. AFC Championship game. Cincinnati +7 at Kansas City. Total is sitting at 54. Money line action. Chiefs -335. Bengals +260. Go through some of the Action Network numbers here. 35% of the bets and 83% of the money are on +7 for the Bengals. The over is attracting 70% of the bets, 35% of the money, and the Bengals also +260 on the money line. 14% of the bets, 64% of the money. So we know that the sharps like the Bengals here. It has moved in some places from 7.5 down to 7. This thing ain't breaking 7. I can guarantee you in hell they're not doing that, because anytime that they get to 6.5, they're going to see every sharp and their mother get down on the Chiefs in this game. I think 7 is the right number. Every time they get to 7.5, they're going to take Bengals action. So we're going to sit here probably all week. I'd be surprised if we don't. My initial read, totally based on what we saw in week 17. Bengals, they got it done late, but that first half, they got absolutely torched. Chiefs only put up 3 points in the second half in that game, 28 in the first. I think this Chiefs offense is going to just keep chugging along here. What about you?
Yeah, I saw that this line opened up at 53.5, only moved a point to 54.5. That does matter. That is a pretty significant number, but I can't help but just think that this game's going to go over. We know about the offensive line struggles of Cincinnati. They gave up 9 sacks to the Titans. I would expect that the Chiefs are going to be bringing pressure. But I think this is going to be a shootout, much like we saw with Buffalo, man. Like, you got Joe Burrow who's going to be slinging it. I got to go over 54.5 on this one. And you're right. I think that the Chiefs are certainly not going to put up 3 points and a half this time. I think they're definitely going to come more correct. After a game like that, maybe you give the edge to the Bengals just because of the rest, but I don't know. Part of me is like, it's the AFC Championship game, man. Like, I know that the Kansas City Chiefs have been here before. They're coached by a really good head coach in Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy and so forth, but I can't lay the points yet. I haven't done it. The only bet that I've made is a parlay, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but I think the Kansas City is going to win this game outright. I just don't know about the points yet. And I think you're right. I don't think we're going to get too much movement. This number seems right from a book's perspective. This seems pretty sharp. So maybe I tease, the Kansas City Chiefs down. Like I think that's where I'm probably leaning towards. But this one's tricky.
So my biggest bet of the week, the only one that I've really made thus far, and I placed on Sunday night. So thank you, Jack Daniels, for inspiring me to do this. Chiefs -1, San Francisco +9.5. I put a lot on that one. It just made too much sense. As perfect teaser pieces. I think Kansas City with Andy Reid facing the exact same team 4 weeks after they faced them last time. It might actually be 3. It was week 17, so it was pretty recently. It was in January. It was January 2nd. So relatively recently, they put up 28 in the first half. Significant coaching edge versus Zach Taylor. So I know that Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, those guys aren't going to be scared. The Cincinnati defense has played well, but let's be honest. They've played the Raiders and the Titans. They have not faced the Chiefs. They gave up 31 last time, 28 in the first half. The Chiefs' offense just looked wrong in that second half. It's not like Cincinnati was doing anything really to get Patrick Mahomes or whatever. It was just weird stuff going on. I really believe that the Chiefs here are in a great spot to go to their third straight Super Bowl. I think they're going to cover the 7. I don't think I keep going back to it. They've played the Raiders and the Titans, and they've played close games versus each. The Chiefs are a much different breed. And you can say what you want about the extra day of rest and the Chiefs just won their Super Bowl, and maybe there's a letdown, and maybe that's true. Maybe you want to play a Cincinnati first half. But I think the way that this game's going to end up is the Chiefs are going to be like, we want revenge from that fucking loss last year to Tampa Bay, and we're running through the Bengals. You do not deserve to be on the same field as me. Joe Burrow, you already made a mistake by saying that the NFL stadiums are not that loud, saying the SEC is louder. Well, you might be right, but go to Arrowhead and tell me afterwards if you don't think that place is loud, is going to have any impact on your ability to call plays. Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't be surprised if Jamar Chase and Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, like, they could have good games. They might be able to put up, 24 points in this game. But Chiefs team total right now, 31 over. They are going to put up a 35 burger at least in this game. So it's just a matter of, do you think Cincinnati is going to be able to put up, 28 points in this game? If so, bet the over. You can bet on Cincinnati, but I'm riding the Chiefs in this one.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards your way, man. Like, I just don't think, I don't know. It's been a great story. Their path to get this far has been great, but you're right. They didn't really beat up on what I would consider the elite teams of the AFC, despite, the Titans got there, but we know what they were. We were tracking that throughout the season of how inconsistent their offense was. That reared its ugly head at the wrong time and wrong point in the season. Mike Vrabel got out coached. Ryan Tannehill, he just made horrible decisions. He's under pressure. They just didn't look good. Fact is, they just didn't look good. So Cincinnati caught them with their pants down. They got to the AFC Championship. It's been a great run, but you're going up against literally the best team in football. They've been the best team in football since week 8, week 9-ish, when their defense actually started playing. And they're pretty much at full strength right now. I don't know. Did we get an update on Tyrann Mathieu? I assume he's going to play.
I have not seen one, but I'm going to go back to my Nick Bosa thing from last week.
Right.
If you're alive, your ass is in the game.
Protocols, COVID, we'll worry about that after the season. This team is just too loaded, man. And I think you saw the explosiveness of the Chiefs on full display last week against the best defense one of the best defenses in the NFL. So, the Bengals, part of me now, you're starting to convince me that I just need to lay the points with the Chiefs here and just trust the fact that Mahomes is the future GOAT, and he's going to show you why. Burrow's not quite ready.
Speaking of Burrow, I haven't bet any props except for one this week. But the one that I did bet, so Chiefs are going to bring, Spagnuolo loves bringing the blitz, maybe more than anyone else in the NFL. They're going to bring the absolute freaking heat on Joe Burrow. Chris Jones is going to be coming up the middle. It could be another sack fest for Burrow. So their path to win is throwing the ball way down the field and hoping they break a big one. So it leads me to two props in that scenario. One is longest touchdown of the game to the Bengals versus the Chiefs. The Chiefs will end up being favored in that one. The other one is longest touchdown of the game over. It'll probably be like 55.5 yards or something like that. I still like the over. I think someone will break a big one in this one. The third one is Burrow escaping the pocket on one of these blitzes and going for a run. The prop that I see out there right now is over 8.5 rushing yards. I will take the over on Joe Burrow rushing.
Interesting. I like it. What is the current line on that? Do you know?
It's 8.5 minus 110.
That's comfortable. I mean, I feel that with Spagnuolo and his blitzing style, he's definitely going to be running. That Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
I was looking at Joe Mixon last week. I believe I said it was like at 16.5 for his receiving yards. He cracked beasted that on one play. So that's another play I'll be looking at again. I expect him to probably be active if, he's going to be getting the blitz in his face all day. He's going to have to dump that off. So expect him to also have a pretty good day. And wisely so, if the Bengals are going to stay in this game, they're going to need to get that run game established and keep Mahomes off the field. So wouldn't be surprised if we see Mixon leaned on early and often.
Last week we had Mixon over 3.5 receptions. We had over 21.5 receiving yards, I think, by the time I placed it. And then over longest reception, I think we had 12.5. All of those hit basically in the first half. So I wouldn't be surprised to get that one again. I love for running backs are going to get the ball the longest over reception. I did with Eli Mitchell last week too, over 8.5. I just love those. I feel like they're going to break them every game. If you can figure out who the Chiefs running back is going to be, I'd bet him too. But right now, I don't know who the running back is going to be.
I don't know, man. I think Jerick McKinnon's he's looked like the best one, man. And I think he was playing 70% of the snaps compared to CEH. So I think if you're going to bank on one, it's got to be him.
Darrell Williams practiced today, full pads, full everything, full stops. So I anticipate that he'll probably cut into someone's workload a little bit. But you're right. McKinnon had the most rushes last week. He had 10. He had 5 receptions. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's the number one back there. But do Darrell and CEH cut into his snap percentage enough to make a difference on the receiving yards? I don't know. Check back on Friday for us on that one. All right, let's move over to the late game. 3:40 p.m. San Francisco plus 3.5 in the market right now. Have seen some threes at the Rams. Total is sitting at 46. This total has been moving down significantly. Let's go over to Action Network. Plus 3.5 for the 49ers right now. 44% of the bets, 46% of the money. Total 46. I see 45.5 in them right now. 45% of the bets and 65% of the money is on the under. No surprise there. Money line all coming in on the 49ers. Again, no shock. 31% of the bets and 89% of the money. All that sharp money. Nice and good on the 49ers. No surprise, I'm kind of leaning towards the 49ers too, but I've been going back and forth on this one. So clearly we know at this point that Kyle Shanahan has a massive advantage over Sean McVay. 6-0 in their last 6, including 2 wins this year, including in Week 18 to sneak into the playoffs. But Rams are playing really good. San Francisco has yet to throw a passing touchdown in the playoffs. They've kind of held on in both of these games. Rams look really good, especially early. I mean, for 3 and 7.5 quarters of the playoffs, they've been the best team in the playoffs. So are they just riding hot? Do they have the system figured out? Do we think that San Francisco can do enough to slow them down? Really, really interesting. I find this game way more interesting than the earlier game. Earlier game is going to be fireworks, but this game is all about strategy. It's going to come down to a couple plays. Really interested to see what happens. What's your initial read on what's going to happen here?
My initial read was I took the moneyline parlay of the Chiefs and the Rams. And my gut tells me that the luck is going to run out for Shanahan at some point versus Sean McVay. And this is casting a lot of confidence in McVay here. And I know you were alluding to it earlier, but down the stretch against the Bucs, he had the chance to just continue to put the foot on the gas and just stomp him out. And he got conservative. He started committing to the run. That's when you start seeing the Cam Akers fumbles. Matt Stafford almost blew the game with a fumble late too. If he continues to be aggressive, I feel good about the Rams prospects. And I know I've been hating on Stafford all season and waiting for him to make mistakes, but you got to live with it when you have a pass happy offense like that and they're clicking the way that they are. I'll live with a mistake or two. Because I think we saw with the Packers too. They also got pretty conservative there, just handing the ball off. They should just, continue to pound them out. So the biggest liability to me right now is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo and what he's going to be able to do. He's going to have to throw the ball at some point because this D-line can actually get to him. So we saw how bloodied up Tom Brady was in the first half, and then he kind of clicked it on as, in garbage time, and they kind of let up. But if they don't let up, man, I don't see, to me, on both sides of the ball, I think the Rams have the advantage. It's a matter of whether McVay is going to, I don't know. He can't get out coached here. He just can't. He's got to bring the pressure, and he's got to continue to just pass all over him. And hopefully, we see a Rams victory here, because I think it would be a really, really great Super Bowl to see the Rams and the Chiefs. So maybe that's just me being a fan of the game more so than banking on my wallet, but I still feel like the Rams are the better team. And similarly to Cincinnati, like I feel like San Francisco's run's been epic. To win in Week 18 against this team that you're facing the NFC Championship. I mean, you couldn't write a better script than this. But unfortunately, good things come to an end. And it's crazy because San Francisco's, they were dogs in the last 4 games, and they've won them all. So there's something about this strategy element to it that I think McVay's going to have to get back to the drawing board and figure out. And I think he will.
So Kyle Shanahan as a dog, we know, awesome. Kyle Shanahan on the road, we know, awesome. This is their 4th straight road game, their 4th straight game as an underdog. It's a position that he loves to be in. I think that he coaches better and potentially harder, or he thinks about strategy more, or maybe gets in the lab with Mike McDaniel. And I don't know. Something about being an underdog just brings out the best in that whole team. So that'll be interesting to see. From a sportsbook perspective, the sportsbooks have a massive liability on the Rams. Huge. They will be rooting really hard on San Francisco. I anticipate and actually think that some of the money that you're seeing come in sharp on the money line here is actually a hedge out of future positions on the Rams. So interesting to think about from that perspective. I'd be interested to see if that changes the line movement at all. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit more on Friday if I hear some stuff. Couple things with the 49ers defense and the Rams offense. So Rams have been running it a lot on first and second down, especially since Akers got back. About 70% in early down standard. So between the 20-yard lines, that ain't going to cut it. That is not going to cut it.
Too predictable. Got to mix it up.
The way that the Rams win this game is they get up early, throwing the ball like they did against Arizona, and they did against San Francisco in Week 18, and they did against Tampa Bay. And then when you get a lead, you double down, you triple down, you quadruple down. Keep passing the MF football, Sean McVay. If you want to go to the Super Bowl and you want to face the Kansas City Chiefs in your home stadium, guess what you got to do? Let Stafford rip it. This is the game that you made the trade for. Let him throw for about 400, 500, and you got a really good chance to win the game. I will say this, though. San Francisco's defense, they are getting a ton of pressure on the quarterback right now without blitzing. Let me read you some stats about Matthew Stafford. I actually wrote this stuff down because I wanted to make sure I got this right. Stafford versus the blitz this year. 154 passer rating, 11.7 yards per attempt. Against no blitz, 53.6 passer rating, 5.7 yards per attempt. Actually, let me be specific. Those numbers are specifically against the 49ers, not for the season in total. Okay. So,
interesting.
If San Francisco is able to get pressure on the quarterback with just their 4 down linemen and they play their full coverage, they're going to win this game. It becomes go for it.
I was going to say, so what does that mean? That means that anytime he's getting pressure from a blitz, he's exploiting whoever that blitz is coming from. Like he can read the defense enough to find wherever that hole is from, you're reading the defense essentially. When you're playing man up, then it's like, oh, I don't have any options. No one gets free. I got to make a decision. And then he throws it away, throws a pick or other, takes a sack or something.
Exactly. So what San Francisco needs to do in this game is unleash Nick Bosa, unleash Eric Armstead, unleash whatever you got in the front 4, rotate as many guys as you have to make sure that you got fresh bodies and get to Stafford. If you don't get to Stafford, you're screwed. If you bring blitzes, you're probably screwed. That is not a winning recipe here. If you can get pressure, and you can look at it for early in the game, because we know how pressure gets if you're rushing D lineman. If you're getting there early, you're going to get there often. In the first quarter, if they're able to get to Stafford, San Francisco's going to win this game. If they're blitzing or they're not getting home and Stafford able to throw the ball and they actually commit to throwing the ball, the Rams are going to win this game. Maybe not going away, but I think they're going to have a really, really good chance to win this. That's why I don't like playing San Francisco at plus 3.5, even though I already put a small bet on it. I think there's a chance that this gets out of hand on the Rams side. But I do like San Francisco plus 9.5 as a teaser piece. I think that's awesome. I think it'll stay within a touchdown, pairing that with the Chiefs. That'll be my best bet of the weekend. I don't know how I can top it unless there's some prop that's absolutely amazing out there. I do lean towards the under. Maybe not at this number right now at 45.5, 46. I don't know. I think I could see it being a really low scoring game, 24-21, something like that. But again, if the Rams commit to throwing the ball and they like, all right, we're going to score 30 in this game. I mean, San Francisco's going to keep up. They're going to find a way to keep up in this game.
So that's the thing I'm struggling. That's the thing I'm struggling with is how they're going to keep up. It's either they establish the run early on, they keep Stafford and them off the field, they continue to get pressure with their front line, and then maybe it's just a very low scoring game. I mean, the under's hitting 4-2 in the last 6 games. So yeah, the trend is definitely for a lower tempo game, and that's what San Francisco wants. They want to take all of the energy out of you and just bore you to death. George Kittle that does have a clear bill of health, so he'll be out there. Obviously, we don't know about Debo yet. I mean, it sounds like Debo's practicing, so he's good. He left the divisional round got nicked up with a little knee injury there, but he's good. But it's on Garoppolo, man. Can he move the ball down the field? You got to figure he left the divisional round unscathed, so it's 1 week better. Maybe his shoulder's feeling a little bit better, but I think they're going to have to probably get some play action fakes going on pretty early, try to get this defense snoozing after they run the ball like 30 times. You know what I mean? Like they're going to run it like crazy, but you're expecting that. San Francisco, they did this to you before. This is how you game against it. You just keep passing on them. Keep the foot on the gas. So I'm on the Rams side of it. I thought they were going to lose last week. That was their championship to me. The fact they beat the Bucs, the reigning champs. So yeah, I don't see the San Francisco's going to have enough firepower here to keep up because they're going to have to put points on the board. They didn't do it in Lambeau. Granted, yeah, cold weather conditions, but they got away. They got away with a really good defensive play. And if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't even be talking about them right now. So this offense is very uninspiring. And I don't see how they're just going to all of a sudden just wake up and be like, oh my God, Jimmy Garoppolo threw for 350 and 3 touchdowns. Like, I don't know about all that. I'm with you.
He threw for 315 in week 18. I understand that they had to come back from a lot, but it's possible. I'd be really interested to see. I can't wait for this game. This is like a football nerd dream matchup. Like the first one is like all for the casual fans. You can have all the fireworks and scoring. This game is for the degens. This is for the guys who get down on football, the guys who are up watching tape at 2 a.m. This is what football is all about. I can't wait to watch this matchup. But yeah, it sounds like we're a little head to head here. You're more on the Rams side. I'm more on the San Francisco side. You agree with San Francisco 9.5, but you take the Rams on the money line. I think that I'm going to end up on San Francisco. I just think that there's two
going all in.
There's 2 plays a game. Well, my analysis leads me to believe that the Rams have a path to win. I just don't necessarily know that McVay will take the path to win. So I believe that Shanahan.
I mean, it's been 6 straight. Like he got beat up both games. I mean, last game was close, but fact is, you still had an opportunity to stop your divisional opponent from getting into the playoffs. Like maybe I don't know, maybe some Jedi mind tricks that he's just been waiting for the highest stage to best his opponent, his foe here. But like, I think he's gonna figure it out. He's got to figure it out. He's a smart dude. He just beat his boy in Lambeau and LaFleur. So like, I thought this is the next notch on the belt that McVay needs. He needs to get over this hump. It's now or never. If he doesn't get over it here, man, I might be. I don't know. San Francisco. I'm not drinking. I drank enough of the Kool-Aid. I'm cool on it. I think the Rams are going to get it done. But we'll see. I could change my mind 2 days from now because this game is so close that I don't even know. I can't even bet the number right now. I just think the Rams are going to win outright. So we'll see if this line moves at all. But I'd be curious if it moves up at all for the Rams. I'm definitely staying away. But if you can get a little bit more value there on the San Francisco 49ers, shit, I'll take it. If it moves up another half a point, maybe to 4.5, like I'm intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued.
This line is definitely moving towards the 3 and not towards the 4. It's more likely that you're going to see a Rams -3 on the board. So if you like the Rams, maybe wait on that one. If you like San Francisco, bet 3.5 now. You ain't going to see a 4. Let me tell you that much. I can guarantee you right now. Let me ask you 2 questions before we head out of here. In-game play calling, who do you trust more, Shanahan or McVay?
After what I saw last week, man, I as I just tout up McVay. Yeah, I probably trust Shanahan more, to be honest, but he's blown some things in his day too. So it's a good question. It's a good question.
Yeah.
I lean Shanahan, to be honest, but this is McVay's moment. I'm riding for the young man. I'm riding for him.
I think it's an interesting. Oh, the other question that I had was, who do you think is better at scripting a game plan pregame, Shanahan or McVay?
That's hard to say because like I really feel like San Francisco got really lucky last game, and luck plays a factor into all this, right? But he did have. I mean, Shanahan had a really good game plan for neutralizing Aaron Rodgers, so like I can't knock that. Like you're essentially taking the MVP out of off the field, not to do what he normally does. That's a hard thing to do. Whereas McVay almost let the GOAT take him out again. Like, man, that's two tough questions, man. I'm gonna roll with McVay on the second one, just because I feel like the Rams have looked better overall throughout the playoffs, and the Niners have been good at scheming against their particular opponents, which they've done well against the Rams over the course of the last several games. So you would expect that the momentum would probably be with the Niners, and I think that's why I'm going to take the Rams. I think the Rams, they're clicking at the right time just as much as the San Francisco 49ers are. So I'm going to take talent over the scheming.
So if you're everybody who's watching on YouTube, if you see Dan's wheel spinning there, that's because that's how hard these questions are right now. I just want to make the point.
It's so close. It's so close.
Okay. And the point that I want to make here is I'm getting the extra half point for a guy that's won 6 in a row versus this opponent. That's the reason I'm on San Francisco. It's so close all the way through. The Rams have more stars and they're at home, but Shanahan's won 6 in a row versus this guy, and I'm getting the half point off of the 3.
That's I gotta buck the trend. I gotta buck the trend. It's
gotta
stop at some point.
We're allowed to have different opinions. I'm just trying to finish off my point. All right. That does it for episode 51 of Gambling with Gold. We will be back on Friday with all of our top props, best bets, teasers, totals, all of it. Friday, 10 a.m. We'll be on the show on YouTube, and we'll have that shortly up after on Spotify. So until then, good luck with all your NBA bets this week, Dan. I'll be trying to cash some college basketball degenerate bets. I can't wait for it. And we'll be back Friday morning. So until then, see you.
Peace.